Good morning, peeps. All you little stumpsters in the stumpster army. It's me. I am cutting above what Pete cut the other day. When I track forward, I'll get a little bit over there. But he cleaned that high wall off for me. That it's not really a high wall; it's a spilly pile. I am sitting on an overburden pile. It's basically where they cut the coal out. I'll open my fine, beautiful window. They cut the coal out of this over here, and they swung around with the big drag lines, and they just dumped the dirt here. So this is basically, I do believe the pine was all planted on this. The hardwood, I think, volunteered. And it's amazing because this stuff is like just bony, rocky dirt. You can look right there. That's a black cherry. That's a pretty valuable tree, actually. That stuff will probably bring, I don't know, $750, $800, $1,000. It's not the best, and it is minerally. It gets minerally on these strip cuts, but it's still pretty amazing. That probably is from scratch. I don't think they planted any cherry or anything. They planted locust and spruce and pine. And I don't even know if the quake. They might have planted the quake. I'm not sure, but. And then you can see over here, it gets back into, that's actually a property line. Right at the edge of this spilly down here is a property line, runs down in. And there's a couple of witness trees down there. That's another guy's property. But you can see there's the natural contour of the woods down there. And I'm sitting on an overburden pile, basically a spilly dump where they took all the cover off. They might have had 60 feet of dirt to get down to the coal, and they just pulled it off and swung around with the drag lines and dumped it in a big heap. So that's basically like over here. Norm from the Philippines, he's on my channel all the time. He's a good guy, and he's a West Coast guy. He always asks good questions. He always asks good poignant questions, But he's like, why do you guys in the East, why would you do these dozer roads? And why would you do this? And why would you do that? And why don't you set up a tower? Well, I am not opposed to a tower at all. You guys have followed my channel for a long time. I'd love to. And now, I would not obviously change my whole, logging operation. My idea was with a tower was to get certain jobs. This is a good spot where I can maybe explain my logic on this, because I kind of told Norm, I was like, Norm, it's not even worth, I'm just being sarcastic, Norm, but it's not even worth me. It wouldn't be worth it in here, because he's like, why would you go through all the expense of building the roads? Well, I'll tell you what, you can see there's a dozer sitting, right? That little spur path goes up. Though the road was there. There's a power line that comes down, just feeding them houses down the valley. Just on the other side of that hump above the dozer, there's a power line that comes down. Just a couple small wires. So the road came across and down there, and back in about where my dozer was sitting, it was there. So what I did the other day is I went from, instead of switching back and going up that icy packed hill and then switching back again, and I got to get the timber over on the other side of the power line. So you can see my trail goes up through there. So I put a trail from my main road down around so I can get all that stuff, which I had to do anyway. So there was a road to that little Y right there. So I put that road, all of that in, and all of that up there in about an hour with the dozer. So if that dozer with an operator is worth $125, it cost me $125 to put that road in. And then I got, I don't know, a couple loads of pulpwood and a few scrag logs off of that, and then I'll get, I don't know, there's probably 6 or 8 more loads out around that hill. So that's why, when Norm asked, well, why wouldn't you set a tower? Even if I had a tower, it would be silly, unless you were going to yard the whole thing out. But you don't need to. You can go so fast in here. These roads are so smooth. You can run 7th and 8th gear in the skidder when you're empty, and you can haul back out in 5th or 6th gear, which is jogging speed. it's not worth it. So the landing is way up over there, right? Way up beyond that spruce patch. You'd have to set a tower up like 10 different times in here to do this. And it's not worth it. Now, if that slope had, 50 loads on it and it was a big high hill, yeah, I'm all for it. But in this case especially, no. Even if I had a yarder, I wouldn't bother with it in here because it's easily accessible. It's just steep to cut. It's a bitch to cut it when it's slippery. I mean, this thing here is steep. I mean, it drops right off here, I mean, it's just a dirt pile. So it's as steep as whatever the dirt stopped rolling down when they piled it, But you can see the high wall. You can see it up there, that next row up there. What they did is they tore this all out with a drag line and they swung around, they just dumped it. This whole thing right here, even down to here, is just a big overburden pile. So again, this is a good example of what they'll do. They'll start down here and they'll bring this whole thing up. They'll bring it all the way up and they'll match the grade. You can see where the field comes down right there. They'll match that grade, and this will all be, it should be tillable over here. It should be, that's what they're planning on doing, is making agriculture fields. They're going to use them. My client, Mr. Copenhaver, is leasing it to another neighbor who farms, and they're, I guess, kind of excited. They want to be able to farm this whole thing. So it'll look different for sure, but can you imagine? I mean, look at that I don't know how many, I don't know, millions of yards or hundreds of thousands of yards anyway. And this thing goes way out around to the landing. From here to the landing, in a straight line, it ain't that far. It's probably 1,500 feet. But I'll bet you by the time you go around our skid roads, yeah, I mean, that's a long way around. But you can run fast too, So anyway, can you imagine? And this thing runs way out around, and then it stops, and it goes across the field over there, and it goes way over there and starts again, and then it goes probably 3/4 of a mile out around that other hill where we were cutting before. It's just amazing. But anyway, that's what I'm doing now. I'm getting this patch cut out of here. So, cut a few trees for you. Shoot the breeze. But anyway, I thought maybe I'd give a little explanation on that. But other jobs we do that, being on that yarder topic, other jobs we do, and this is where the tower idea comes in for me. It wouldn't be a full-time thing. It would just be, there's times I could use one. And the reason being is, like, you see that hill over there? We'll do a lot of river hills, okay, along the rivers. And you'll get it'll be as steep as this, or, maybe not that steep, but it'll be so steep you could never go up it with a skidder. And here's the problem. You can't, this is a short jag up to the landing. I've had instances where I'm pulling, literally a mile. By the time you get back up the hill, where you can switch back and make it, less steep, lessen the grade so the skidder can go uphill, then yeah, this is where I'm about a yarder. Because instead of going, 3/4 of a mile or a mile uphill to the drag, spinning and pawing in the mud, yeah, now set the yarder up and, go straight up over with it. My idea of the yarder would be to skid, short skids, and put the line in one spot, shoot it up over, and then go to the landing or have it in the landing or whatever if you can. You can't always do that around here either. Sometimes when you skid it to the top of the hill, you still got that other 1/4 of a mile to get at the landing. But at least you would shortcut the wood. That's where my idea of a yarder would come in handy. I just don't need it all the time. What would be the sense of having a yarder in here? I can wheel skid this really fast, and you put a couple 748s on a piece like this, and you can move a lot of wood, So then it just wouldn't be worth it. But the yarder hassle. But it would be worth it on some jobs. I'm just getting too old for this crap, and nobody else seems very interested in, you know, whatever, dying breed. So I'll probably just do what I do. If I could find one cheap enough, I'd like to try it. But I don't have any time either, so whatever. Keep pretty busy. All right. Well, I'll make a video of. I'll cut this one off because I don't have much luck editing stuff. I'll cut this one off and make another one to cut. So talk to you in a minute. Ta-ta.